They don't call her Confiscation Kamala for nothing. Don't take it from us.
And I support a mandatory buyback program.
A mandatory buyback program? That means the government forcing you to turn in your firearms. To what lengths would Kamala go? Well, she doesn't even support the individual right to own a firearm.
I'm prepared to take executive action and put in place a ban on the importation of assault weapons into our country.
We get it. Sometimes it's tough to understand what she's talking about. But on the Second Amendment and your rights, Confiscation Kamala has been crystal clear. Her gun control agenda comes straight from that petri dish of bad ideas that is California. She can claim to be a gun owner all she wants, but we all know she's the same anti-gun California radical she's always been. Don't be left defenseless. Defeat Confiscation Kamala. Vote Trump like your life depends on it, because it does. NRA Political Victory Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. NRAPVF.org.
It's the Larry Kudlow Show. Free market prosperity starts here. Now, here's Larry Kudlow.
As you know, last night, Israel hit hard in their military strikes against Iran. There were calibrated strikes, according to most of these reports that we can figure out, but it could be the beginning of something larger. They avoided hitting nuclear and oil facilities, but we don't know how this is going to play out, so we welcome back to the show Aaron Cohen, Israeli special ops veteran himself and founder of Cherries, which specializes in counterterrorism training for law enforcement. Prince Aaron, welcome back to the show. So, what happened exactly? What did they hit, and why did they hit it?
It's good to talk to you, Larry. So here's what happened. Obviously, about a month ago, Iran lobbed about 200 ballistic missiles, very dangerous missiles, which Israel shot down. So Israel ended up scrambling its air force. They entered Iran and pulled off something pretty magical. They spent about an hour, Larry, total breaching Iran's defenses, unable to hit the Israeli Air Force, which is very, very elite. Most people don't know how good the Israeli Air Force is because they're just a little younger, but Israel's Air Force is really incredible. And what Israel's Air Force managed to do was spend over an hour in Iranian airspace with over 100 attacks, taking out missile depots, logistics sites, and various different IRGC, other connected facilities in a coordinated attack. And it really is a paradigm shift. Iran has never been attacked like this since the 80s when they were at war with Iraq. So there's a big paradigm shift happening right now in the Middle East, a very large shift.
Aaron Cohen, did they hit any command and control centers or training centers? Did they Iranian casualties or deaths?
No. Here's what I'm hearing, Larry. I'm hearing from my friends within the IDF and within the security framework that Israel specifically attacked missile-related storage facilities, logistics depots, and actual missile battery sites. And that was a big thing that happened a month ago. It was almost 200 missiles, ballistic missiles, very dangerous, very large, including Predators or drone systems shot into Israel. And so Israel wanted to target immediate threats. I think there's a larger Mossad-style special operation that's cooking, which, as you know, we don't talk about. And that's where that real magic happens in the vanguard. And that's where I think you're going to see Israel going after the IRGC leadership in connection to operations that are being targeted against Israel and Lebanon. And so that's the way that Iran can get to Israel. It's that Lebanese militia, Hezbollah, that terror group. But I think there's going to be a larger operation that's cooking. But Israel, they're not going to tip their hand, Larry. So we're going to quietly wait for that one to play itself out.
All right. So that's my next question, Aaron Cohen. So there's more coming from Israel.
Oh, for sure. Well, there's more coming from Iran too, Larry.
Oh.
I think Iran's going to come back, and that's the, like I've said on your show many times, that's the language of the Middle East. There's all this bravado and posturing. Larry, the reason why I think, me, I don't get political, but Larry, the reason why I think this strike was so limited, can I be honest with you and dip my little toe into that political why? I think Biden and Harris had pulled the brakes on Israel again with this limited retaliation strike. And this is the same business we saw in Rafah. And Israel just killed Sinwar and Rafah, Larry. And Bibi's, he's got to, it seems like every once in a while when Biden pulls him back, I think Bibi would go after those nuclear sites. I really do.
Well, so the Biden crowd told Bibi Netanyahu, IDF, not to go to Rafah, but they went to Rafah and they killed Sinwar, which was fantastic. So they don't want him to do this. They don't want him to do anything. Now, I want to, you're very close to the election, so you're 10 days out. But look, do you think at some point they would go after the nuclear facilities and or the oil fields?
I don't think Bibi will do that with the election so close away. I think that the more hardcore left fringe, and again, Larry, I don't get political, but the more hardcore left-wing elements within the Democratic Party, I think, are putting pressure on Biden and Harris. And I think it's election-related. I don't know if it's because of oil prices spiking, because of a larger regional conflict. That's your business, Larry. You can talk to that a lot better than me. However, I think that the proximity to the election is putting pressure on Biden, on Bibi, and I think it's coming from the Biden-Harris camp. And it's dangerous for Israel.
Yes, well, goodness. How much, the strikes last night and so forth, how much damage does it do to the Iranian military, let's say, capability, the Iranian military machine? How much damage was inflicted, do you think?
I would say there was a tremendous amount of damage inflicted on those particular missile sites that Israel struck. The reason why is because Israel, they just got an unmatched capability. When they go in there and they swarm in there, Larry, with 30 or 40 F-35s and F-16s, they're going to drop a ton of ordnance, and they're going to make sure that those bases, Larry, you've seen our intelligence capabilities. We can tell you which warehouse the missiles are in. We know the difference between the chow hall and where the missiles are being stored. Because Israel has, they've been targeting assets within the IRGC for 2 decades now, and I wouldn't be surprised if, there's all kinds of Israeli agents working for Israel within that organization, and Iran's trying to gut them right now, trying to figure out who the assets are working for Israel. So. And then those pagers that we've been tracking, they went all the way to Iran before we blew them up. So Israel's got a ton of data and activity, and I think Israel dumped a ton of ordnance on several dozen targets, completely eliminating or slowing down Iran's next missile attack. I think it's going to buy Israel some time.
And once again, the IDF showed that they can hit Iran at will, whenever they want, penetrate defenses, like, killing the Hezbollah commando in Tehran itself. I mean, it's almost like Israel wants to just make a statement. We can go into your, innermost areas and at will, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Larry, Iran's air defenses, from what I'm hearing, were completely useless against the IDF Air Force. So not only were they able to penetrate, but they were able to expose. Not only could they get to Iran. Remember, Iran fired missiles at Israel. Israel just deployed several dozen fighter jets and crossed into Iranian territory. And here's another piece to that. So not only can we infiltrate the Iranian territory, we can hang out there for an hour, smash a shawarma, fly around and dance and pop some popcorn and take out a bunch of warehouses. But there are probably elements of Israel's what's called that JTAC unit. So those guys who have to get on the ground and put those lasers specifically into those targets to reduce risk of civilian casualties. Remember, we don't We don't fire at civilians. That's what Hamas does. That's what Hezbollah does. That's what the IRGC does. So there was probably a commando detachment on the ground, lasing those targets to make sure that those strikes were very selective, which means that a group of very talented Jews, very dangerous little lethal Jews, had to get into Iran quietly and then set up somewhere to be able to aim a little beam at those buildings to make sure that those strikes hit hard, hit fast, and it buys the jets time to get out of there quickly and fly higher, and it's safer for the pilots. So the risk is to the Special Operations Commandos, but that would definitely have been a piece of this also.
Well, God bless those talented Jews. That's all I'll say. Aaron Cohen, former Israeli Special Ops veteran, great friend, founder of Cherries, his new company specializing in counterterrorism.
Larry, I just wanted to give you a heads up. I'm launching my new podcast, The Aaron Cohen Show.
Wow.
It drops this week.
Wow.
It'll be on YouTube and X, and just doing a deeper dive into the work that I do with you guys over at Fox, diving deeper, peeling back the Israeli special operations curtain and, combating that anti-Israel misinformation. Just wanted to get that out there.
Well, good luck on that. Everybody's going to listen to it. You know what you're doing. Aaron Cohen, folks, former Israeli Special Ops, great friend. Prince Aaron, I call him. We're going to take a quick break, and then on the other side of the break, we're going to go to the economy. How about that? John Carney, Breitbart economics editor and co-author of the Breitbart Business Digest. I'm Kudlow. Please stay with us.
This is the Larry Kudlow Show.